Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today we're talking about something that makes me happy and makes me a bit sad because we are finishing the Sword of Shannara, and we did finish it up, and that's what we're here to talk about today. And this time around, I put finished because the last time when I put fine, everyone called me a snob. So we are finished with it today. This is our final broadcast, and I want to say thank you to everyone for who stuck around with us through this, and as we continue on these journeys together. And one of which is, of course, one of my panelists, all the way from a place relatively close to me sometimes, and it is Rennie.
Hey, good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Steve. This is a bittersweet uh, broadcast, I guess, so to speak, today because, you know, good book, but, all good things must come to an end. So, you know, excited but sad that it's already over.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, very. Yeah, it seems like it flew, but I mean, we've been doing this for nearly 3 months. I mean, this is our 11th stream, and we, haven't always been able to go through all of them because of of reason, or rather, do it every week. So it's been quite another little journey for us all. And then all the way from the future, and from a northern latitude, the Viking himself, the one, the only Steve Kenobi.
Hello, how do you do?
Well, my goodness. Okay. I'm sorry. Forgot. All the way from Downton Abbey. It is
No,
Lord
I
Steve.
saw that. I was like, when did he change his location to Downton Abbey?
I did it on spite.
I love it.
Well, we welcome
Lord
people.
Stig,
We even welcome people from Downton Abbey.
the lovely Lord Stig.
Yes. What does someone say? The illegitimate child of Charles the Third. uh, well, um, not that that's not the case. But Steve, please help us out here. Can you give us a report from the future? How's the future?
It's getting dark because winter's kicking in.
Okay.
So it's uh, it's 6 o'clock, 6 p.m., and the sun is setting fast.
Oh,
Yep,
So winter
well,
is coming.
winter is
quite
coming.
quite so.
Winter is
But
here.
I have a lot of tea stacked up,
Mm.
so I will be warm sitting in my reading corner reading fantasy books.
Most excellent. And we do endorse that here at Miss Smart Muses. And we also endorse our animals, sometimes overlapping with our chat. We have Snortopoopas Kuber, Ho Humans and Other Critters, our resident polar bear, coming to us from his iceberg. How is it on the iceberg? I know it's getting cold out there. Getting yeah, let us know if you've had a chance to see the Northern Lights. I know that Stieg has, and I hate them
Well,
for it.
I keep missing them. I see pictures people post on Facebook and stuff the day after. And
Okay,
I'm
I
like, I
see.
think one of them happened uh, uh, one of the Saturdays I was on the stream.
Oh, well, there
So
we are. So it's all my fault.
no,
Oh,
you don't cause northern lights, madam.
Oh, you think you that special, Teresa?
Oh, well, little you know, little you know.
Oh,
You
watch
don't
out,
really
world.
know what I, yeah,
Yeah,
you don't
she's
know.
played D&D. She starts to think she's a wizard now.
Uh,
Tends
okay.
to happen.
Hey, but I don't play as a wizard, so
Oh, that's true.
yeah, turn into a LARPer. Okay. Hello, Jacob Ironside. Thank you for the rose. Yes, everyone needs to be a little flower. You'll be happier for it. Oh, hey, look, it's ready. Like, share, and describe. Describe. Like, share, and describe. Yes, that's like a teacher assignment. Let's see. Oh, about to start. That's me. Oh, we got a dog in the house. Another animal. Woofy woof woof. Hello, everybody. Everyone's saying hi to Rennie and to each other. They're nose booping and all that. Let's see. Um, I think there was a comment here. Oh, wow! Look at this. Hound 3000 is throwing Snortopoopas some a big salmon, milk
Oh,
and
that's
cookies.
so
Oh,
nice.
you've had salmon today, haven't you, Teresa? Why don't you tell us about that?
You ain't right.
USOB. It's true. It's true. Now, I like smoked salmon, and there's apparently something in Norway where they like to take bread, lettuce, smoked salmon with boiled eggs on top of it.
Yeah, like egg slices, not a boiled egg balancing on it.
Well, that would be interesting. Actually, I should probably post a picture. Maybe I will. I'll try to figure that out. But yes, 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 indeed. I did. I tried it and I liked it.
What score would you give it from 1 to 10?
Oh, oh my, he's really rubbing it in, isn't he? I, I hate to say this. I gave it a 9.5. It was really good, but I'm trying not to give you the satisfaction.
Oh, I concur. It is a very refreshing meal, and I'm slightly jealous that you had it.
Oh, well, then maybe I will send a picture. Let me see if I can get a
Well,
picture
you've
of it.
already eaten it. Please don't.
Oh, well, no, I took a picture of it
Oh,
beforehand. Yeah, yeah, because I was showing it off to my mama, and so I was putting it up on a big thing on a big screen. Let's see. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and wait. Why the hell? Oh, all right. I don't want to send it to my iPad. That won't do us any good. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. We got some woofs and we still got some woofs and some woofs. Look who it is. It is from the Southern Hemisphere who is getting ready to welcome summer. Hello, Timon. Hello, saying hi to all of us. Feeny says, Snortapoopus Kuber. Howdy, says Kick44. Thank you very much. And everyone's saying howdy. And you see, I love it when, look at this big love fest. Oh, there's even kisses.
This
Wow.
is like the friendliest chat on YouTube. These are really great people, and this helps to make it more exciting about coming on because, yeah, just
well,
awesome,
they know what I'm
awesome
gonna
chat.
do to them if they misbehave.
Uh-oh. You got
I
them
was gonna
scared straight, poor things.
Yeah. Shit. When you say stuff like that, Steve, and you say it with such a,
Conviction.
yeah.
Practiced
Damn.
conviction.
Yeah.
Practice conviction. Okay, I'm uploading the picture here. Let me find it. Yeah, and understand, I didn't make it exactly the way Steeg said because I did not have bread. Well, we do have bread, but our bread freaking sucks. Hound 30,000 says winter is always coming. Yeah, well, especially if you live in a northern atmosphere. Snortapoopus Cooper says it's refreshingly brisk, and my furry butt is moderately chill. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for letting us know how life is on the iceberg. They're chewing now. Oh, they're eating the salmon. Okay, winter is coming. The book isn't. Oh, thank you for letting us know. Jacob Ironside says, in wintertime, Scots sit around a candle. When it gets really cold, they light it. That's cheap. Cheap heat. Short Poopa says, is it hard to smoke a salmon? It seems like it would be hard to keep lit.
Oh, dear.
And BC, aka the New Dark Shadow. Hello, everyone. We're at 9 days till Halloween. Yes, we are. Yes, we are, precious. The New Dark Shadow. Yes. And 10 days before All Saints Day, Halloween discount candy day. Already sleeping with the AC on down here. Oh, Timon's rubbing it in with the nice weather. And they're woofing and they're kissing and everything. My gosh. And now I know what hexa means and what it refers to because I know that Brazil is looking forward to the World Cup. They want to get their sixth win. And I've been informed I'm not allowed to root for Brazil until America is out because you have to apparently root for your own country, even if your own country kind of sucks at football. Um, I but I will. I have every
Do you know why it's called a hexa?
Leipzig.
Because of a hexagon, right? It has 6 points.
Well, yeah, but I think a the
It's, it's
hexagon
probably where
comes.
it's probably where it comes from.
Yeah, yes, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. All right. So I know that everyone has been waiting for this moment. So before we get started, you can see what I made. I'll also put it out on Twitter. I thought I had a cool. Sorry, another comment from Sort of Poopus about Lord Steeg, but I can't find it, so I apologize for that. So here it is. Here it is. What I have. Let me zoom in. So you can see the bun with some lettuce, the smoked salmon, and sliced boiled eggs.
Yummy as heck.
I hate to admit it. Well, because I was so
Why?
resistant. Well, I was so resistant, wasn't I?
Yes,
Um,
but you need to keep in mind that I'm always right.
oh, and maybe that's partly why.
Oh,
My
Now, I do have a question.
sure.
Do you dress it up with anything? Did you put anything on it, like mayo or, Thousand Island or anything?
you could put mayo, so some stripes of mayo on the eggs.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
We use caviar though,
yeah,
because
I
Downton Abbey, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
but
The
you
real
have to
reason
use a
is that
spoon made out of.
caviar is dirt cheap in Norway.
Ah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not dirt cheap here.
Yeah, you have to fork out a little some dough, and also in Norway they have what do they call it? You can get it even in a tube, and just kind of like what we do with that cheap cheese, the string cheese. They have string
Yeah,
uh
they have caviar in it
caviar.
too.
So I must admit, I personally would not. I would not go ahead and do it with any mayonnaise or anything because the smoked salmon has, in my opinion, enough flavor, and it also is salty. So to me, it does not need any kind of extra flavoring. That's my attitude.
Hmm.
It's good with cucumber slices too.
Oh, that would be good. Okay, so I will try it with caviar. I mean, we do have caviar, and I just was thinking sometimes I go shopping for mom and dad, and it's like, hey, I brought some caviar.
Mom, can I have
Mom.
caviar?
uh, well, no, you actually say it after the fact. It's like, look what I got. Isn't this a great idea for dinner tonight?
You
That's
should
my.
buy it.
Well, they would have already bought it.
You're like, look, Mom, no hands. Just kidding.
Okay, this is what Sort of Poopa said. He is now Lord Stiggington Pewty. Holy crap.
Stingington Beauty.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
I vote no for that one.
It's a bit much in the muchness.
Well, it should be
isn't it?
Stigworth.
oh, Stigworth. There we go. Yeah, Hound 3000 is not convinced at all. Hello, Corey. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. Yeah, Timon Flip is Brazil spring, or I mean Portuguese spring explaining. Oh my gosh, I almost did it again. Said something ignorant. Hexa equals 6 is a suffix that comes from the Greek language. Yes.
See?
Yes. Okay, yes, Steve. Okay, hey, Corrington Cochran. Oh, hello, Stephen Ransom. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate you being here at Miss Martin Muses. If you all would please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. I did make it over 700. I did make it over 700. So
Yay!
300 till 300 till I guess I am qualified to be monetized, and I do have a lot of watch hours, so I do appreciate everyone for that. And we'll see. Deviled eggs are awesome. Yes, they are precious. Caviar is overrated. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
You know
How dare
what? I'm
thee.
gonna have to agree with him a little. It is a bit overrated.
I'm gonna
It's,
have to just completely disagree with you.
I think it is
That's
here just because
okay.
it's so expensive, and you're like, and like for me, it's like I spent my money on this. That was a lot of money.
Yeah,
So I can see why Steve would say that, or someone would say that. It's just because
Well, I've,
cost
I've had
versus
a,
what you
I've
get.
eaten it a lot, so it's kind of, you know,
Yeah, played out for you.
yeah.
my personal favorite kind of caviar is salmon caviar.
That I think that's the one we have because we have salmon farms, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. He's trying to make me hate him. That's what he's trying to do. Okay,
Oh,
Sword Poop Scriber says caviar goes best with vodka. If you drink enough vodka, you can't taste the caviar.
Well, he's used to eating the whole fish.
Meanwhile, that's true. Meanwhile, it's Digton Abbey. There you go. Matt G. He brought the bacon. Thank you, thank you. Hello and congratulations on 700 subs. Thank you, Bone, and
oh.
thank you for everyone that has helped me get here. I couldn't do it without ye.
That would be
And
700 people, wouldn't it?
Typically,
yes, if they're real. But no, I'm very grateful, very very grateful. George Lucas is here. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you did with Star Wars. We're always you never know what kind of celebrities are going to show up in the chat here. Everyone's saying hi. Yes, thank you, and I hope I got everyone. I hope I got everyone. And if I didn't, I do sincerely apologize. Things are going to get a little wild here as we get into the discussion of this book. I do want to go ahead and open up the floor to um let's see. I want to start with Rennie because she's like me.
Ladies
Exact.
first. Just do it as a rule. Have Rennie first.
Oh, well, ladies first is a nice thing. I was gonna say because since it was our first impressions, but yeah, I guess I should be polite, shouldn't I? Ladies first, but sometimes I roll. Sometimes I roll. Well, Rennie, what did you think? What did you think of the conclusion of this novel?
um, so yeah, it was for me. It was wrapped up in a little bit. It was wrapped up pretty nicely, but there were some things that I wish that we would have gotten more of a look into at the end.
Hmm.
I don't want to give it away to the audience just yet. And by the way, guys, we're spoiling the end of the book. If you haven't read it, you might want to, you know,
Hmm.
catch the
Yeah,
replay once you do. But
yeah.
like,
We spoil everything here, but yeah.
yeah, I just, it's one of those things where I wanted to know more about certain things, and we'll get into it as we get into those chapters. But at the same time, it was really interesting, kind of uh, the reveal about basically Excalibur, so to speak, and some other stuff. And yeah, so some surprises and some hardcore action, and yeah, it was pretty good. Just there were some things I wanted to know more about that I didn't get to know about, and I'm like, oh, how do I know what happens with this? I need to know.
Maybe book 2 and 3 will let you know some. I don't
Hopefully.
think I don't think too much though, but
Okay.
maybe a little.
Yeah. Well, I can't actually say that because I haven't read it either. But yeah, I reread the ending twice. I must admit these chapters because the first time through it was so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Because part of you wanted to know, like, oh my gosh, are they going to make it? Are they going to live? What's going to happen? And then I was able to go back and I wanted to reread, especially the whole revelation with the sword, as well as Al-Anon's Dumbledore moment. Even though I guess now we know that it was an Al-Anon moment every time when Al-Anon showed up and explained. So Harry, this is what happened. This is what happened when this happened, and now there's some more information I want to give you. Yeah. So, Steve, I guess this, I don't know how many times this has been for you to read this, but how did you feel rereading this ending?
Fish babies are great with vodka.
Oh, that wasn't. Sorry, I didn't realize I left that on the thing. It is tricky. I love all this engagement, but yeah, now I feel like I'm a bit of an air traffic operator. Sorry about
Well,
that.
the book.
Yes, the book.
This is the. I think this was the fourth time I read the book,
Mm,
but it's been a while since the last time, right? So
yeah.
it was a lot of fun to revisit, and I had forgotten quite a bit, because if you read a lot of books, you can't really retain all the information after a certain amount of time in books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mostly remembered events and who died and who didn't.
Hmm.
But I did remember the stuff about the sword, which we will get into later. But the book was more solid than I remembered because it actually wraps up things quite nicely. And some of the stuff that, the revelations near the end, they were foreshadowed, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And again, there was nothing that he did that I would call foul on.
Yeah. And I think one of the things was something the two of you had like a complaint about earlier on,
Hmm.
about how Al-Anon not telling about the sword, right?
Yes.
And I hope you were satisfied with it happening the way it did, because it was basically stuff you were requesting from the story, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um.
Which I
Yes,
couldn't,
and
which I couldn't spoil at the time. You know,
yeah.
it just kept saying keep reading and whatever.
Yeah. Again, whenever you've been waiting for a payoff like that, there's always a moment where you're wondering, did it live up to its hype?
Yeah. Usually, I find that uh, every time I read a fantasy book or something, right, I will have expectations for the ending,
Hmm.
and it's never gonna be perfect. You know,
Yeah.
You'll always, but as long as it's satisfying, I think that's good enough. I think.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely satisfying, and it was definitely logical within the framework of the story and what he had presented.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the
And
ending, the wrap up was rushed.
Yes.
yeah, I do agree with that because, like I said, there were some things that I wanted to know a little bit more about. Um,
It's like it's lacking a chapter.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And when we get through those areas, then I'll kind of explain what I mean, but I'm sure you
But
guys understand.
Yeah.
but to be fair, the same thing kind of happens in the Lord of the Rings with Legolas, Gimli, and Aragorn. They're like,
yeah,
okay,
but
we're done. Goodbye.
you get the wrap up in the appendices though with them, and you get to
Yeah,
find out. So you get some closure with those characters. So with these, it's like, well, wait, but and wait, what about? Well, hold
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Because
So
like in the Return of the King, we got a wedding, we got a coronation, we got the funeral. Theoden's funeral. We had several like moments where they were kind of all together and all kind of saying goodbye.
yeah,
We didn't get this, and it was also my biggest complaint. And Rennie, I'm feeling almost that he did write a chapter, and the editor said, we don't need that, and just
that's
cut
what
it
I
out.
was thinking. Yeah, because it's like, did somebody just like proofread and just say, this is all extra fluff. You don't need this in your book? Because that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, we need a little bit more wrap up in this area. And I think if we had gotten it, it would have felt 100%. But it was still a good story. It ended really well. And the very, very ending of the book was kind of like,
Oh,
oh, that's cute. Okay, I like that.
yeah, because
it
I
ends on
was
a high note.
Yeah,
yes,
it's really cute. It ends on a very cute note, and I liked it, and I hope the audience did as well. So
yeah. I was gonna be so mad. And so yes, I was very happy it ended up the way it was too. Okay, before we jump into the chapters in detail, I want to address Stephen Ransom. Miss Martin Muses, are you going to put this discussion into a playlist? I'd love to listen to it bodily, all 11 parts. Yes, I am, and perhaps I should have been doing so all along, but thank you for the suggestion. Yes,
Oh, I
absolutely, I
like
will.
that. So you can kind of play through it like almost like a book on tape, but
Mhm.
not quite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good idea.
yeah, and for the most part, I think we behaved ourselves. I don't think there was too much.
I think the Two Towers was that one
Well, the
stands
white
out.
wizard had come. So what were we
Yeah,
to do?
Yeah.
it was that was Tolkien's fault. That was all Tolkien's fault. I blame him because I've never had to. I've read it a gazillion times, but I've never read those parts aloud before, and it wasn't
Girl, you
until I
were
read it
laughing so
aloud.
hard I thought you were crying.
Lots of things are happening. So yeah, so if you want to hear some innuendo, and you can do the same. And see, we have it for the Hobbit, we have it for the Lord of the Rings, and the Silmarillion. You can hear us stumble our way through that, and then of course, sort of Shannara. And for those of you that do want to play along, we are going to be doing the Elfstones of Shannara next, and then the third one. I don't know what the third one's called.
Which song?
Wish song, and then
Which
after
song of
that,
Shannara?
oh, there you, yeah, heard it from Mystique there, and then sometime in the new year, when we're done with all of those, we're going to be doing the Magician Apprentice and Magician Master of Raymond E. Feist. So if you want to get a head start, go ahead and do that. And thank you for everyone again being here and everyone listening in the replay. And like, share, subscribe, all sorts of stuff. I hope that this little corner of the YouTube just brings a little smile to all your faces and maybe distraction and teaches you about some good fantasy that's out there. We all know the stuff that sucks.
No,
Let's go
book
to the
2 and 3 are
Mhm.
quite a bit shorter than this one.
Mm.
So we're almost halfway through the trilogy, really, when it comes to pages.
Yeah, and
I think book 2 will take us like 5 or 6 episodes.
yes, yeah, we portioned it out, and the chapters are also shorter as well. Okay,
Yeah, a lot shorter. So we have to do like 8 or something.
mhm.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we divided it up. Yeah, but it's good. It's good, and I've realized while I was doing that how bad my math is. So I've forgotten all the little tricks. Okay, what's going on? We are discussing the final of the Sword of Shannara. Thank you for being here. Just let it be known that we're about ready to get some major spoilers. So if you are planning on reading the book, you might. I don't like to chase people out of my own stream. I love people being here, but please be forewarned. We're about ready to spoil the ending. Thank you, Keely Chow. My gosh, it's been a slow but steady crawl, and I like the way it's kind of worked out, and onward to 3,000. Oh, 3,000. Onward to
Dang, girl.
1,000. Yeah, I'm getting ambitious, and 2023 I think is when it's going to happen most likely, and but thank you for all of you, that have shared it out and helped out and come in and enjoyed and watched. Help me get those watch hours. Though
Yeah.
there's a part of
Oh,
me, yeah.
how they're asking about the innuendo. And no,
Never.
it wasn't spanking. It was fornication.
Oh, no. Live on air.
Yes, no, and then also because I was trying to go back through and find some good clips, and apparently that even like Frodo crawling on the ground going up Mount Doom. I'm sitting there bawling my eyes out, and then you all are giggling because I guess it did sound a little bit dirty. As
It was
was
probably Rennie
commented
because
on.
I'm not a giggling person.
That's true. All right.
I will admit to the fact that I do snicker and giggle at adolescent teenage humor. So
Yeah. Oh, we can't help it. We can't help it. All right. Well, let's go ahead and hop into this chapter 31. And without further ado, oh yeah, if anyone didn't have an opportunity to see the my breakfast, which Steve finally convinced me to make, or our map, and here we go. Just in case. Oh, I forgot to share it. Oh crap!
Oh,
I'm
good
sitting here.
I was
heavens!
like, Teresa, I don't see anything. What are you talking about?
I'm
There
sitting
goes
here.
that Saturday.
What? What the fuck? Okay, I can't get the button now. Here we go. Palance dies. Yeah. First sentence. So that's what I'm like. If you didn't want a spoiler, it was just like the first sentence, and then Palance died.
Yep.
So, but I love it though because I mean, look at that picture for crying out loud. I mean, and that's an accurate representation. The dude got stabbed right, like almost impaled, like a reverse impaling. So, yeah. So we lost him.
Like a reverse impaling?
Well, because
Impaling it just
usually.
means you run through.
Yeah,
It
so
wouldn't. It wasn't
basically
gonna
you're
stab him
pulling
in the
out.
ass, was it?
So he pulled out a
Yeah.
Palance.
Like, yeah, he
Okay.
murdered the prince by impaling his anus with a dagger.
No, reverse impaling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, a regular impaling would be, he's stabbing down, isn't he?
He's stabbing down. Stabbing.
So,
Okay.
so you're saying the correct way is up.
All right. Let me defend myself. Vlad the Impaler, I've been doing all this Dracula stuff. It would actually, that is literally what they would do. So impaling wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. It
Went crack up, wouldn't it?
Yes, literally. So
up
when
crack.
I think, so when I no, but it's terrible. Usually in the movies they show him just being impaled on those little pole things. Up
So you
the
got
lower.
assassinated.
Oh, poor Terry Brooks. He thinks, this is what we think of. But no, when you're impaled that way, so a reverse impaling in my follow my logic, because it went down. And see, look, I mean, it went right down through his chest and all that, and maybe ended up somewhere around his buttocks. So that would be a reverse impaling from Teresian logic.
Okay, then.
So buttocks is reverse impaling.
No, but buttocks is the correct
Normal
one.
impaling. If you want impaled
okay.
properly, it goes up.
That's
the
what she
buttock.
considers normal.
That's so weird.
No, it's not what I consider normal. It's because of Vlad the Impaler.
Okay. Well, no,
Right?
I honestly didn't know that. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's how you truly poke fun.
Oh, all right. The old Vlad the Impaler party trick. It was right in the Netherlands. It's now paid this conversation. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Stephen. Sometimes this will happen. It happens. So please bear with us. Please bear with us. It was my fault for saying the reverse impaling, but the point is he friggin' dies. Okay, so he's dead now. So we got him out of the way. Thank goodness, not thank goodness, because you knew he was gonna die anyways. And I mean, I would have thought he should have died right away, because I mean that just looks like it just sucks. So in any case, so he's dead, and they're for frick's sake, yeah. Oh, he died at dawn, and so now that made Balinor the last king, the last of the Buckahanas.
Buckhanna.
What
The
they said.
Buckahanas, really?
It's related to Benihana's, the Japanese restaurant.
Hawaiian tribe.
All right. So he's off dead. Meanwhile, the Border Legion and all them, they're starting to fortify their place because the troll army is going to be coming, and they have no regard for their own lives. They're literally cannon fodder and happy to be so. And they made a portable rampway, and there's that was kind of cool what the good guys did, so that they could all make a big ass charge. So I really liked that. I liked some of these defensive lines and that the cavalry did, and Acton was leading. And so he was like a badass boss. Now this is the defenders of the city, um and so they're flanking and being all badass. And Hindle, Minion, Durin, and Dale were left in the city to observe the progress of the battle and to aid Balinor in coordinating these movements. Now, there was a part of me that's like, well, it's happy to be you. They're up on the wall telling everyone what to do. Well, they're all safe, but we'll see that they definitely they definitely pull their weight. And there's a gnome cavalry and all sorts of stuff going on. So Rennie, when you were reading these battle things and all that, what'd you think?
Yeah, just it was very sudden, and
with Palance dying at the beginning, I did get a little sad, and
Balinor being stoic about it was tough. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, boom, we're at war. It's like, holy crap.
So it moved very fast. This chapter was very fast going, and it was impressive though to see how amazing the Border Legion really was and how much they kicked butt. So I really liked that, and so that shows how well Balinor made sure that they were trained if he didn't train them himself, and how much pride he took in making sure that his Border Legion was capable of defending this city or this castle. So yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's like all of a sudden they're getting attacked, but then boom, here comes the Border Legion. It's like, dude, this is awesome. So it went fast, but it was fun. So I enjoyed it.
Again, felt like you were in a novel within a novel. That while we have our heroes here, you have these badasses.
Yeah, just going in and slicing up the bad dudes.
A lot of them were named too. The commanders.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just the heroes of the story doing kick-ass things. It was side characters as well.
Yeah.
Which is something that quite often doesn't happen.
No, and I did enjoy that. I mean, it was fun. Even though people died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just very sudden for me, and it was just like, wait, what? Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
So it took me a minute to adjust. I had to reread for a minute and go, wait, did I miss something? Did it just cut to the battle? And sure enough, it just kind of cut to the battle.
Yeah, the shit really hit the fan.
Yeah.
Which was and very realistic and good. I mean, I was kind of cheering them on, and then I got a little bit sad when what's his face got killed, because what was it? Acton did a brilliantly executed maneuver, and everyone shouted with unrestrained admiration, and then a stray arrow caught Acton through the throat. As he was returning from his command, he was knocked from his mount into the reaching arms of his attendants, where he died moments later. Those fucking stray arrows, they've been the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
Because that happened in one of my other books.
It also keeps happening to you on D&D, but...
Nope. To other people. Yeah, I've done friendly fire against everyone in our group, including myself. I did friendly fire on myself. That's how good I am. So I got a critical hit on myself. But yes, so I was sad. I mean, I barely knew this dude, and Brooks made me care about him. I mean, Steve, that's real. I mean, again, like you were saying, he names them, and that gets really good writing there.
Yeah.
Oh, sad. Okay, well, I want to say hi to the Tad that shouldn't be. Thank you for being here. Always appreciate it. Glad you were able to catch us live. And who else? Luffy is God popped in. Yes. So hello. I believe you're from the future. So I hope the future is okay. That'll got a little hairy. Yes, it did. Yeah, everything that was said already and more. So, so he's dead. Very, very exciting chapter, and makes me hope that after the success of this first book, maybe Terry Brooks might have a little more say. There's a few times where I feel like the editors um, interfered. I don't know if we said this backstage or live, but
Oh, it was back. No, we said it. Um,
I said it live too. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, I forget where I said it, but yeah, that I'm just hoping that maybe some of those things that Terry Brooks will have a little more say, and the editors will go, okay, since you're a big bestseller, fancy man now, we'll let you, we'll indulge you on some of these things.
You'll get exactly what you want.
Yay.
Yay! Um, just Sort of Poopa says, just ask Harold Godwinson about Stray Ears. Okay. And Jacob Ironside, Henry V got an arrow on the face and survived. Yeah, he was a beast, and he was
He
able to
died
make
from
speech.
dysentery, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Thanks for
He
that
was
reminder, Steve.
he was playing Oregon Trail.
I can't. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I had a character die of that on Oregon Trail.
Yeah, well, the struggle was real because what would kill you with dysentery was dehydration, and back then they didn't have IVs and things. The Ted that shouldn't be said Lester Del Rey may as well be considered a co-author for this book. Terry Brooks says that outright. Well, yeah.
Yes. So you're on to something.
Yay! And there we are. And well, and kudos to Henry V. He gets an arrow in the face and all that, and can make one of the greatest speeches ever, the St. Crispin Day speech, which is coming up. St. Crispin
Well,
Day
I
is
think he gave that speech before the arrow, though.
well, okay, but he's a man of many talents.
Yeah, he's on point.
Oh,
Arrow point.
yeah. Oh gosh, or snake bit. Oh yeah, that's from Oregon Trail, and Sort of Poopa says dysentery is a really crappy way to die.
Ah.
It leaves you with that empty feeling.
You know.
Oh, and Biggs is here, and he says hello from Jock Nerdy and I. Well, hello. Yes, I see you all are hanging out together. Play some blackjack for me, Biggles. Play some blackjack, and if you don't know how, learn, because blackjack is the only way to go.
Here's a
Only way to go.
question: if you manage to give someone dysentery and they die from it, would that make it murder in the third degree?
Oh no.
Yeah. He got the arrow in the face and is still a prince. Aha!
Oh,
Aha! Yeah, there. You see, I knew that. Well, yeah, I would say hi to Biggles. And Biggles, if you don't know how to play blackjack, play a couple hands. Thank you. Yes, find a $5 table. Don't bet too much, and I'll tell you my system one day. But if that's too difficult, put a $20 chip on red for me, and let it ride. Let it ride. But yeah, I'm happy that everyone's having a good time. But much better than people dying of dysentery. But these guys don't die of dysentery. More matter of fact, we switch over now to the Razor Desert place, where in the Land of Shadows, where the Mordor lies or whatever, is sending far across the northern stretches, seen westward from the Malg, was a rambling series of low-back mountains appropriately named the Razors. Oh, well, thank you, Biggles. Thank you. Yes, you listen. Hi, Jacob. Saying hi to Jacob. Okay, let me go ahead and bring up the map so we can see where we are, because they're in the final stages of their little journey. We got, here we are. Here's our map. Now, I can't, are the razors on here? Surely there. We got the
no,
knife edge.
they're in the Skull Mountains.
They're in the Skull Mountains. Okay, here we
Mhm.
are. So they're way up there. So the razors are above the knives. And, and yeah, okay. I don't know if that was a good joke or not. This was the kingdom of Brona, the warlock lord. I guess if we were doing it like the Rings of Power, it'd be Brona, the warlock lord. Um, everywhere in the it bore the stamp of the skull, the indelible mark of death. It was a pressing sense of urgency, blah, blah, blah. Shay marked directly behind the broad frame of Kelset, his hand seemingly tied at his back. Panama Krill followed his arm slightly bound, the gray eyes as dangerous as they stared watchfully at the great rock walls on either side. So there's a lot of, details here. And
And there's creatures up there too.
yeah, there's what are those mutant things, right?
Yeah, Murans.
Thank you.
I think it was.
That's what
But
I
it
meant to
makes you
say.
think of the word mutant because they sound like mutants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm terrible with names. And it says, somehow Shay felt that he had known from the very beginning, from the day Alanon had told him of his remarkable ancestry, that it would happen this way, that circumstances would demand he face this awesome creature who was trying so desperately to destroy him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I've been practicing this all week. Oral Fane had been seized and let go, and they figured they were going to let him keep his little, as they say, little piece of metal, since obviously he was BS crazy, and they figured that he had been harmless. And then there's an observation, Rennie, I'm going to push this over to you, where it says there was something about Kelset that reminded Shay of Balinor, a quiet confidence that lent strength to those less certain.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Because Kelset was very well. I don't think he ever speaks a word in the book, to be honest. You just get a lot of nods and
fudge,
like looks and stuff. But yeah, when they're loosely bound, they're not really prisoners of these guys, and Kelset being the war hero, so to speak, of the group. Of course, they're not gonna put his friends in any danger. But when they're watching Oral Fane and they realize, or when the guys realize, like Shay and Panamon realize that Oral Fane is there, they're like, we've got to get the sword. So that's a pretty cool scene. I really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a part in that scene where Panamon goes to get it, and he says something like, we've gone through all this trouble, and Kelset's like, no, it's Shay's. That was really cool. Aww. And you can tell he's very honor bound and has a lot of integrity, but he just doesn't say much. So he has to convey everything through looks and sort of, I guess, sign language almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a mute.
Yeah. So, but it's still very interesting. And, he's still, because I always wondered about him and Panamon, especially, I'm like, do these guys really have their heart in the right place? Do they really, want the best? Panamon didn't always, but Kelset always did. And I thought that was interesting that, that got revealed to us a little bit later in the game. But he always wanted to do the right thing. I don't know if it's because of his history with the Skull Kingdom, or everything that he's been through, or if that's just who he was, But it was very interesting to see.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and damn them, because they're making the Akare even more, aren't they?
Oh, that's a really cool picture of the Skull Mountain. I didn't even notice that till just now.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's okay. You were emoting and talking. Yeah, that was one of the things that Steve sent. This was not in the book. I don't know where you got this, but look at that.
That's pretty cool.
I got it from Google.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you are. Yeah. Well, everything that you just said, Rennie, and then they finally catch up to All Fane, or Ophane. I'm just going to call him Ophane because I got in trouble last week because I've been calling him Oral Fane. And apparently that caused controversy.
That's how I say his name because it's really hard to say ORL together. You know,
There,
oral.
Oral Fane. Yeah, you sound like
Yeah.
Oral Fane. Oral Fane.
Yeah.
It's
So I say
oral.
oral. What?
Oral.
Oral.
Well, you said oral.
No, oral. Oral
Oral.
fane.
Oral Fane. See,
Just call him O.
or I'll call him
no.
oral. I have no problem saying the word oral.
Yeah, same here.
Oral Fane. So, make a long story short, everything that Rennie just said, and that and this mutant is effing around with them and shuffling behind him, and then finally one of the trolls just takes an iron mace and crashes it down on his head. I thought,
Oh
that was
yeah,
awesome.
that's right.
That was badass. But this mutant, apparently, he's not dead yet. But in any case, they get to Ophane, and Panemon goes, "Now we shall see." And then with a lot of exclamation points, they had found it. They found the sword of Shannara. And we're like, thank gosh. Finally. And this time it's for real. They got it. Oh, the chat. The unnamed arrow never misses. An unnamed arrow never misses. Oral. Yeah, everyone's saying it. Various variations. And so, and this time it's not a fake out. This time it's going to be for real. And we're finally going to have this great moment of truth. And Panemon, he's all pissed off. It's like, I've come for you, gnome. And give me the sword, you treacherous rat. And Ophane wasn't going to give it up. And so Panemon brought the heavy iron binding on his piked hand down across the little fellow's unprotected skull, and the gnome crumpled unconsciously.
See, that's an impaling to me.
Well,
No, that was just a whack.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
what-
I was
Pardon
thinking
the
of him
word.
stabbing him through the head with the pike.
no, it says he
Yeah.
hit it.
Oh, okay.
He brought the piked hand down across his skull. So he just tried to like bash his brains in. That was all. No impaling. But then he wanted to see him die, and he goes, "But it's no longer worth it." I think that's a moment. You see, Steve, these moments where we have with Panemon, where they're not wanting him to be like completely bad, like killing someone in cold blood, even oral.
Yeah, because he basically for the last few chapters he's wanted revenge,
Mm-hmm.
but he kind of shows restraint.
Precisely. And because then he would go over to the dark side. Says
Yeah.
the sword of Shannara was Shay's birthright, but he hesitated. So yeah, we got to pause here for a few paragraphs. He had come so far. For an instant, he considered refusing. Blah blah. I'm like, just take the sword. So
yeah,
finally,
stop talking about it. Just do it already. That's what I was thinking.
yeah. Why are we always preparing? Why don't we just do it?
Yeah.
And then finally, he slowly drew forth the sword of Shannara. Dun, dun, dun. And then
And you have a picture of it too.
I do. Let's bring this up. There it is.
Panemon looks all wrong in that picture though.
He looks like Robin Hood, like the
Yeah.
Errol Flynn.
Kelset looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I picture Kelset looking a little bit different, like because they said that he has skin like the bark of a tree.
Yeah,
So I
it
feel
actually
like
looks
his
like
skin should be
Andre the
different.
Giant in this one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, you're waiting for Andre the Giant. And he's Panamon's going, "On guard! Let us have a sword fight for our honor." But Shay, it's good. It gets the whole ambiance, and Shay looks, great sitting there with his sword, and it's glowing. And this is where the friggin' book pauses. It's like at the end of the chapter, I have the power, unlimited power, or is it power? You see, that's the whole thing. Um, it's
I'm
we're
sure
gonna
we'll find out the truth sooner or
I
later.
dare. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I just want to give some acknowledgement to the chat. A new segment on Miss Smart Muses on how to play blackjack. Well, actually, that's some. I'm good at blackjack. Now, my system it takes about a day to do it right, but if you do it right, you can come out with some money. In the land of, I dare the ROP actors to say my name, Snortapupus Cuber.
Taste.
Yeah. The razors may be above the knives, but the jets are above both. Miss Martin Muses, Jacob Arnside, Jacob Ransom. We should just roll the R's on everything. Oreos. Okay, oh my gosh. My tongue is working overtime here. Um Technically though, when you sing, you're supposed to roll the R's. Uh always. I mean proper singing. But that's why whenever you see people singing in like those little British little arias or songs, yeah, you flip the R a bit. I have the Tempest. Yes, I have the Tempest, damn you. And he has the Tempest. But what's going to happen? We don't know because guess what? The chapter ends. And so before we move on, I think that this action just keeps going. Um is anything that you want to say before I just move to the next one? Anyone?
I think it's pretty much covered for me, anyways. Like I said, there's a lot of action and excitement going on. So it's like, oh dang, oh dang,
Mhm.
and no matter what, the Border Legion is holding everyone off so far, and it's it's exciting, tense, but at the same time, it gives you lots of hope. And same thing with finding the sword and finally getting it out of freaking Oral's hands. So I thoroughly enjoyed that part of it, and I just like I said, I love that scene where Panamon's like, all this trouble for the sword, and Celtic's like, give it to Shay. That's Shay's sword, without saying the
Mhm.
words, pretty much that's what he's implying to him. So I thought that was really cool.
Yes. Boromir, give it to Frodo. Um Apparently the secret to good blackjack is to hit them from behind. Yeah. Well, that too. Well, and if you're Panamon, you just hit him across the skull with your little piked hand. I did forget to mention at the time that in the middle of all this, Hindle is feeling restless, like he's forgotten something, and we're gonna see the payoff there. Um, and yeah, it's gonna be sad. It's gonna be sad. Well, let's go on to chapter 32. Let's go on to chapter 32, where we are back at the army with Acton gone. Balinor did not choose to risk uh, another Legion command, and so he decided to hold his position. Check this out: burning oil and all that stuff is being poured down. You see, that's some cool, serious medieval defend the
Yeah.
castle technique. And it said for nearly 8 hours, the valiant defenders of Tarsus repelled an enemy 20 times its size. And then oh yeah, and then like three big towers came in, and they feel like that they were doing some psychological warfare on them. And Balinor's like, there's something wrong with the whole attack, but I can't put my finger on it. And he's like, he wondered for the 100th time, where's the cavalry? Where's Gandalf? Where's the elven army? Or the riders of Rohan? Or any friggin' thing of armies? But this is a bunch of elven cavalry that they are waiting for. And then and almost as though summoned, we move over to John Lynn with Flick. They're going like, the army's on its way, but it's not here. Maybe we should get a message to Balinor to let him know we're on the way. And then they're like, where the frack is Alanon, who's also disappeared? And then He looked quickly at the dark bulk of the siege tower standing deserted on the plain, and the king. Oh, by the way, sorry, Eventine is there as well. A small gesture. We don't have a large enough army. And did I miss that? What was the small gesture that he ends up doing? Because
Oh, you're basically gonna call the cavalry attack a small gesture because he feels it's not enough.
Yeah, that's what I took from it as well.
okay, I thought maybe I missed something there. Thank you. Because again, I'm still feeling kind of insecure because
It's the first go round. Like same thing here because I asked myself if I missed stuff, and I think I did kind of miss or misinterpret something that happens here in a little bit as well. And so hey, first go around. If I read it again and again and again, kind of like with the Tolkien books, I'll be like, oh, I didn't catch that before. Oh, that makes more sense than I did before. So even though I have to read them twice to like ingest these chapters, it's still like I don't feel like I'm getting everything that I probably should sometimes.
Yeah, I thought maybe that he actually literally made a small gesture and was like, oh man, I fecked up. Okay, thank you. I'm trying to see if there's any pictures of any of this, but no,
No.
not really. Well, by golly, we'll just have to continue to make our own, like as Jacob did. He also said, oh, okay, yes, this was it. Oh, maybe this was this it? He also sets the siege towers on fire. Okay. Yeah, some of this tactics. Yeah, thank you. Some of this tactic stuff. Okay, yeah, and it says the frantic Northerners rushed wildly over the timbers. It was obvious the invader had been taken completely by surprise, and this is now on the third day. And they're sitting there. There's a strange calm there because everyone knows that they're going to die. They say that, and they've accepted it. They've accepted that they had seen men die by the thousands, and they just were kind of waiting for the moment to come. And this would be the moment in the movie where there's something dramatic. And Handel's like they're doing the death watch. They intend to kill us all. And
Yeah, they put down a wooden stake or something in the ground to let him know that we're gonna kill you.
Okay, a single red pennant.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's scary as F. And then Durin says, I wish we had been able to catch Stedman. And Dale's like, we almost had him. And that's kind of getting Handel's brain working. He's like, Shades! I've been a fool. It was right in front of me. A secret passage in the basement of the palace. The old king spoke to me of it once. Stedman must know of it. Away into the city, Minion goes, Cheryl's back there. Oh my gosh. And it's like, Minion, come with me. And then Handel says, and he tells Dale and all them to go out and warn Balinor, et cetera, and pray we're not too late. And this next part is so badass. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to. You know what? I do know what to do with myself. I am taking my hand. I am thumping it. I am thumping my hand because it is so awesome. And everything seemed to rush by as it negated time and space because they're going as fast as they can. We've got to get there. And then they both arrive, and it says they go down the worn steps to meet the most deadly battle of their lives. And at the sight of Stedman, the Prince of Leah felt a savage rage well up inside. It was more than a tempest within him. It was more than a tempest. And then he and Minion fought like mechanical creatures, their bodies soaked in blood and sweat. And they're just kicking the living shit out. I mean, not kicking them, and they're killing them. It's a slaughter. It's an absolute slaughter. I really, really loved this chapter. I couldn't stand myself. But right in the middle of all of that, after they'd kind of gotten everybody, he just hears Minion. And then he looks over and a tangled mass of fallen enemy guards. The eyes of Prince of Leah found his friend. He stood with his back near the wall, There were dead bodies all around him. He had killed them all. And no one had escaped. The hard knives met minions for just an instant, as if they were just meeting for the first time. He was the old Hindle, grim-faced, resourceful. Then the mace slipped from his hand, his eyes glazed over, and his body slid slowly, lifelessly, to the death that had finally claimed him.
He also saved Minion a couple of times during the fight.
Yes.
The
Oh,
guy went full berserker hero, really.
Yes.
I mean,
That
when it comes to this whole battle, Hendel was MVP
yeah.
by a mile.
I agree. And didn't it say something in the chapter about Minion going, "Oh crap, I left my sword over here," so he had to improvise with a pike and something else?
Yeah,
Yes, I want to say.
he picked up another sword during the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, he
It
picked
was
up
a
someone
lance.
else's sword, but he started with like a lance, I want to say. Or a
Yeah.
pike or something. Yeah, and he was like, "Oh crap, I left my sword behind." So, he fought pretty well for not having his typical weapon, but I will say I do think that Hindle did do quite a massacre himself on his own, and I just broke my heart when I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah. And to me, as Steve said, he's the MVP, but also to me, this was the climax of all the battle stuff. Like I thought the other battle description was really cool, but this is like where it all happened.
Well, and they came in clutch because basically Stedman was secretly letting all these other bad guys into a secret passageway to kill everyone with their back turned, so to speak. So if they hadn't thought about it, or if Hindle hadn't thought about it when he did, things could have gotten way worse, and they may have, gotten defeated pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that was pretty smart on his part. Good thinking, good battle tactics.
Oh yeah. We knew Hindle was awesome, but oh my gosh. Okay, I see this. Steve has a picture for me. Let's see if I can bring it up. Oh, look at my boy. Look at my boy. Okay, I'm gonna share this. Let's see. Are they gonna let me Chrome tab? The latest. Here we go. Here's our Hindle. Look at that guy. Look at our Hindle.
Aw. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of shed a couple tears when he said Minion's name, and he just kind of passed into darkness and passed on. So,
And they have become good friends too.
yeah.
Oh, gosh, I was. And once again, when I say, "Hey, I'm really kind of liking,"
I almost chuckled when he said that in one of the earlier episodes. Like, I'm really liking Hendel. There we go.
once again,
Exactly.
sucks to be me. I just put the death knell on my favorite character again.
Well, I'm thinking Minion was probably your favorite.
That's true. One of my favorites.
Women tend to like Hendel. Minion.
Oh well.
I really liked Minion and Balinor. Those have to be my two favorites of the story.
Balinor kind of grew in the second half of the book.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, he's one of those that I feel like maybe should have gotten more screen time. If you will.
Yes, I agree. We need more
general.
Balinor in our story.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
don't know if they've done that. I know, Steve, that he's expanded some of the stories, but did he ever go back and do a short story or something on just Balinor or something?
No,
his
the
story?
I'll tell you after this. Well, the first short story, right, chronologically,
Mm-hmm.
is how Alanon finds Shay.
Yeah.
How he finds out where the Shady Vale is and all that.
Yeah.
The second one takes place after this one, and it
Okay.
features two of the characters, and I'll let you know which one afterwards.
Yeah. All right. So no more Balinor. Sorry. Um. Well, and then meanwhile, Stedman is still alive, and he's going to come up behind Minion. and he's like,
Yeah, he's
he's trying.
basically trying to sneak away.
Yeah,
While Minion's grieving over Hindle.
yeah. He's like, freedom, just steps, and he's like fighting down. One, he had to fight down a sudden impulse to laugh aloud. So, and then Minion turned and check this out, a shriek of terror. So he screamed like a girl. Yeah, as his eyes used a terrible look on the face of the Prince of Leah. Stedman clawed his way frantically toward the open doorway, stumbling blindly. He was only halfway up the steps when Minion caught him.
I'm pretty sure Menyon just let out all the rage and hacked him to bits. That's pretty much what I think happened.
See, I feel like he just like stabbed him through the heart or cut his head off to be done with him.
He was pissed because of Handel. I'm thinking he just went caveman on him.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
And I got that impression too, and I like the way Terry Brooks left it to our imagination, because that was all he needed to say. Minion caught him. That son of a biatch. Son of a. That little.
Menyon and Handel probably have the highest kill count
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
in this
By
in this
far.
book.
by far, Minion really proved his worth and
his quality.
yeah. I mean, it's one of those things you just when you first meet him, you think he's this prissy little prince, and no, he's actually got some valor and some courage, and he does care about others, not just himself. So it's nice to see that flourish in him. The more and more we go on.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. I want to say, oh yeah, Hound 3000 has to go to sleep. I know. Thank you for coming in. Always appreciate you coming by and supporting us. Daniel is here. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate you popping in, saying hi. Says I need to watch this discussion from the start. I was a Shannara reader. It's a fascinating series.
Oh. That's cool.
Cool. Well, thank you. I hope you enjoy this, and I will be putting this in a playlist as well. So we're going to be continuing with the Elfstones of Shannara coming up. Thank you for being here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot this isn't the end of the chapter. Oh my gosh, I got to keep going. So meanwhile, they're still fighting. They're still fighting, and let's see, Stieg. I don't have a lot of notes here. Is there anything in particular that stands out for you? Having been more of a reader, that I might be missing of what happened in the.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yes. A certain elf.
Oh yeah, Durin. Oh yes, of course. Yes. Durin and Dale. And we think he dies, right? But he.
Yeah, I guess his shoulder crushed and is like fucked up.
Yeah,
It
it's
gets
just like-
mauled.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, yeah, and I have it here. Yeah, Durin fired the last of his arrows. So, man, this elf fought so much he used the last of his arrows. What a beast! And then he threw down his bow, and then seized a discarded sword before a whole bunch of things were upon him. Oh my gosh! Yes, and then finally he ended up unconscious. Yeah, thank you for that. Gosh darn it. What a guy. You see, we didn't. Who would have known how awesome he was? Yeah, I want to see more of those guys, Durin and Dale and all of these. Sorry, I'm just sighing. I'm sighing for the moment.
No,
And-
I completely can feel
Yeah.
you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we decide to cut off. So we cut back to Minion, where he says Minion Lee bent his blood-streaked face over the body of Hindle and carefully raised the inert form in his arms.
Oh.
And he threaded his way through the bodies of their fallen enemies, blah blah. And he was dazed, and he walked aimlessly, his eyes blank, and then he heard the sound of running feet, and he laid the burden on the floor. And I'm like, Hindle. And then Cheryl is there. Cheryl. And then she has tears streaming down her face. "Oh, Minion," she says, "what have they done?" And then she hugs him, and oh gosh, it's like, oh my. The love of his life is there to comfort him. But
It's
yeah,
sweet.
well, and but I like this because he kind of you, you see the yes, he was a beast and all that, but the toll that it took on him and the loss. My minion. You see, don't we all as chicks, as Steve said earlier, for some reason chicks like minion. We all want to be that Cheryl. Like, I'll make you feel better. I'll make you feel better. But we can't because Hendel's not coming back. No, I know. It's terrible. Zakrod, hello. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And meanwhile, things are going crap south, and it says now the king of Calahorn, sorry. Gosh, I can't say these freaking names. Is all alone. And let me see. Oh yeah, and then they were all getting ready, and Minion he joins the battle, and then they've got Dale, and in the distance, darting figures were seen scurrying across the deserted Tertian way for the safety of their home. The afternoon sky had gone suddenly black, and then at the center of the bridge, the city's last line of defense braced for the Northland rush. Dun dun dun! They're screwed. Let's see. Do I have any more? Okay, no. And then we go back to Flick. And then a sharp cry sounded from a rider to his left. He said, "Look to the left." And Eventine's flushed countenance surged into view, and a faint dark line grew against the grayness of the horizon. And the Rohirrim arrived. No, I'm sorry, it was the Elvins. So to be, it has. I'm sorry. It just reminded me, especially the way it was, but it is a trope. So I guess we can't say it's just from, as has been pointed out to me, 1,000 strong, banners and lances, and a war horn sounded their arrival. Cheers rose from the little band of elves. It was the elven army come at last. So. I know, harkening back to Gandalf has come, and for the beginning, believe, gosh, for everything mankind had fought, they were here for the everything mankind had fought so hard to preserve through the ages. Come, perhaps, too late. Dun dun dun, and. Oh, here's a cool picture. Steve, what's the? I'm going to go ahead and put this picture up. Is that from a specific point? I'm just looking at it very
No,
quickly.
no, no. It's just what the trolls are supposed to look like.
Okay.
It's the cover for a future Shannara book, really.
Okay, understood. Because at first I was like, I don't know the characters. All right. Yeah, that's a little more.
Yeah, that seems a little bit more accurate. And see how the skin looks really rough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They weren't doing an oil of Olay commercial with with a Celebrimbor. Okay, well, as we finish up chapter 32, I'm going to hand it over to Steve if there's anything that you would like to add, contribute, change, rebuke.
No, not really. It's a battle, with stuff happening in and around, and like we all said, Handel went down like a boss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we love Handel. Oh, I mean, I was really moved. It's rare that there's moments in books sometimes that'll happen like that, and
you'll get a few moments like that in the Shannara series.
Okay, oh great. So look, Brenny, we're gonna have our hearts broken some more.
Not
would not
all of
like
them are
anyone
bad.
even more.
Okay, not all of them are bad. Okay, not all tears are
Or an
oh,
evil.
or an evil. Thank you. Gosh, I'm misquoting. Almost misquoted Gandalf now. Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. And Rennie, speak now or forever destroy your happiness.
Yeah, no, I think everything's been pretty much covered. The passing of Hindle was really hard for me to swallow when I first read it, and then I read it again, and I'm like, oh. But you know, hey, stuff like that happens, but it had to happen. But he did go out like a boss, like Steve said, and to see
It's
how hard it affected Minion, I thought that was really touching as well.
it's not a bad thing if there's a
Like
point
heroic.
to it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. He
And
was
it's
saving
what
the kingdom or saving humanity or whatever.
yeah, and it's what he would have wanted, you know. Oh, but still, yeah. And well, it would have been unrealistic if everyone had lived for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, let me bring back the old picture because we're back to this scene, and we're back to Oil of Olay and L'Oreal shampoo troll and Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn. Oh, but before we do, thank you. Sorna Poopa says all the humans need big hugs. Yes, we do. Yeah, we need it from our polar bears. So, meanwhile, Shay has drawn the sword and immediately it glows warm and they go into a great deal of detail about what it's doing to him and it's like there's like a flow of energy and Panamon and Kelset see him go into a trance um and then gradually for from Shay's point of view, everything is being drawn inward, and his mind seemed to explode within him, and he almost had like a judgment day kind of thing, like where everything in his life, it says every truth about himself, everything bad, everything you know, all these images and his all his fears just assault him and it goes the images go on endlessly he could not accept it he could never accept it it was the truth and then the key line here abruptly he knew the secret of the sword of Shannara possessed the power to reveal truth to force the man who held it to recognize the truth about himself perhaps even to reveal the truth about others who might come in contact with it and he felt betrayed. He said he felt like it was all a lie and he starts to like lose it and he starts to almost despair and as he is doing so the warlock lord he who is already kind of sensing it he knows that he is vulnerable and he's gonna come get him because he knows that Shay will not be able to use the sword against him because he can't the a very long way of saying you can't handle the truth, and Stig knew this all the time.
Yeah, and I couldn't spoil it, could I?
No, but it makes sense. I've got to hand it then that, and we still though we don't know that we don't know what that's going to do though. Like I remember thinking, Rennie, why how is revealing the truth about yourself how is that supposed to do a darn thing
Well, exactly, right? So that basically, for me, it helped to kind of temporarily at least weaken Shay
mm-hmm.
and, took away some of his valor and his courage for a second because he's like, wow, I've been a real piece of crap. Because he goes through this stuff where it's like you guilted your brother into coming with you and making all these people making all these sacrifices for you. And for what? You haven't done anything. That's kind of what the sword tells him. And, it's a hard truth to accept. And it's like, well, I didn't mean to do all that stuff. Oh, I feel horrible now,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting because I felt like I got the innuendo, or it said something about the fact that the Warlock Lord did not realize that Shay was the relative of Gerald Shannara, because in his mind the person was either Flick or someone who had passed on. And so he didn't realize that this guy was actually capable of wielding the sword, for one, but for two, he was like, well, you're just a weak piece of crap, so you're not gonna be able to handle it. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. But we haven't gone over that part yet, but he doesn't realize everything that the sword is going to do as well. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. And I don't know, I really enjoyed that, because it's like, oh, wow. Okay, well, didn't realize that was going to happen. And yeah, so I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was stuff that Shay needed to hear, because Shay did kind of skirt through life, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, we all just do the thing where I get up, go to work, come home, or, whatever. But he kind of allowed other people to take care of him, so to speak. And I think the sword kind of brought that to his attention. And he
Mm-hmm.
realized, oh, I got to put on my big boy pants today, So I thought it was kind of an interesting way to make him look into himself and go, okay, I can either crumble or I have to be bigger than this.
Yeah. Yeah, all of that. And we've got a picture here of what's about ready to come next. But what occurred was, meanwhile, Al-Anon is sensing that crap's hitting the fan, but he can't get to him in time. And so he calls out to him. He uses the Force, but this is before the Force. This is before Star Wars came out.
It's actually
So
came out at the same time.
it came at the same. Oh, okay.
Yeah, 77.
Well, there you go. But he couldn't have known about what George Lucas. It was a coincidence that it was very similar, unless I'm mistaken. Because what ends up happening is, as he reaches out to Shay actually hears him. What was it that he hears? He hears that Shay is in fear and despair, and then the bad guy is like, mortal creature, I am here. Bow down before me. Lay down the sword. And then he hears the voice in his head say, Shay, courage, stand forth, trust, or Shay of courage, trust the sword. Believe in the sword. All else is an illusion. I thought it was pretty funny when he's like, bow down before me, and together we shall rule the galaxy. Yeah, lay down the sword, but lay down the sword. But he's like, trust the sword. So Shay, I like this picture, by the way, that Steve sent, that he's in completely virgin territory. He doesn't know. He's confused. He's afraid. He's seeing all this truth about himself, and he's thinking that he was deceived, that it's really not a weapon. All this stuff's going to suck. And Al-Anon's like, believe, no, that it's going to go somewhere. It's going to go somewhere. And indeed it does. But before it does, I'm just going to say it. Ophane comes and tries to grab it, and then he sees the truth about himself, and he found it unbearable. But Brona, he was actually being controlled, I think, by Brona a little bit to try to grab it.
Yes.
Because Brona couldn't grab it.
Correct.
For reasons we will find out.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Ophane was beyond reason. Oh, I think I said it right. His mind gone, his soul no longer his own. With a shriek of fear, he threw himself against the sword. and held himself wrapped in the one thing that still mattered to him all in the world. For an instant, it was at last. Oh, sorry, it was his at last. Then he died. His keel's over. And then Shay's like getting his, even though he's afraid, he now has his courage. So this is like maybe what this picture is showing. His memory mentor picture of all the ones that will die. And then he forced himself to believe that the real secret of the talisman's power was a simple law that affected even a creature as awesome as Brona, and the wall of fear splintered, and the last trace of the warlock's resistance to advance broke apart, and the sword of Shannara came down, and an eerie, soundless shriek of terror ripped from the convulsed shroud as the Veilman pressed the gleaming blade hard against his writhing form, forcing it back against the the nearest wall. There would be no escape. There would be an end to this monstrous evil of a creature. And as the warlock lord is crumbling, he screamed his hatred of the thing destroying him, and behind his scream, the echo of 1,000 other voices that cried out for a vengeance that had been so long denied him. And Shay like was feeling all of this, and the touch of the sword carry with it a truth that could not be denied by all the illusion and deceit of the warlock lord. It was a truth he could not admit, did not accept, could not abide, yet a truth of which he had no defense. For the I can't speak. For the warlock lord, the truth was death, because his mortal existence was only an illusion. His body had died, so he denied his own death by all this like dark magic and all this kind of stuff. But since the truth, the sword of Shannara's could only reveal the truth, that's the only way that they could kill him. I'm paraphrasing now. And he had ceased to be almost 1,000 years before, and that is how he was able to die. And there we go. And now that I have said it aloud, Stieg, I didn't know if you wanted to add some of your thoughts that you weren't able to say.
No, not really.
Yeah. Okay. That. Okay, Rennie.
This is funny because Steve always has so much to add. He's like, no, I'm good. But yeah, I thought it was quite interesting because, like, it revealed, your inner self to yourself. And, Shay could have either crumbled or gotten stronger for it. And yeah, Al-Anon helped him to go, you know what? No, be strong. You got this. And so I think he became stronger for it. And, he was very brave. And then it showed the warlock lord, he was nothing but like basically scraps, he's just barely hanging on. And it's like, it's time for you to die, dude. So it kills him. And so I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. Even though it wasn't like some big, huge reveal, I think it was quite an interesting way to go. So,
yeah. And what I'm wondering is, were there hints of the fact that Brona was actually dead all along and we just hadn't caught it before because we didn't have this knowledge?
Well,
I
he was
don't know.
obviously dead. He was kind of like a shade.
he was like a wraith, in my opinion. Yeah, like kind of like the shadow, or what are they called? Skull bearers. I picture him being kind of like that, where he's like, or like a ring wraith, where he's just like an empty vessel, but at the same time still clinging on to life, but barely.
Well, we did have a snippet of him in an earlier chapter, like a little bit.
Where the little weird things were like master, and then but they were like tortured or whatever. Yeah. But they didn't really show too much of it. So you knew like there was something mystical about him, but you just didn't know yet, what exactly was going on with him. Yeah. But yeah, if he can talk to the dead, then he's obviously not quite alive, is he?
No.
Well,
no, I mean,
they did say that he was researching how to cheat death while he was still human, and he somehow achieved it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it was foreshadowed.
Okay. But yeah, but you know what I mean, like how yeah, hindsight. Okay, well, and it does. It's clear, and just the way that you phrase that is like, where can I learn this power? Not from a Jedi.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, which is true, and I think when will people figure out if you try to cheat death, bad shit happens? Like even if you're a villain, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
really, really. Voldemort had that same problem too.
Yeah.
Sauron, putting his essence into the ring. John Sue's here. Greetings, everyone. Sorry, I'm so late. Oh, no worries. Just glad you're here, and thank you for being here and showing your support. Tad, that shouldn't be said. The real was not that he was undead, but his undead state was caused by magic, basically lying to reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What he said. My brain's going all over the place.
Well, we have great people in the chat.
Yes.
They
No,
are
they
really
they know
awesome
their
group of
stuff, so
people.
it's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for
Very
making me.
interactive.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Thank you for helping me look good, everyone, for helping me out here. Yeah. Yes, I knew that. I'm a very knowledgeable woman. No, what Steve said. The Tad and Rennie, the Tad that should be said. Terry Brooks did not want a clean magic system from the beginning. He wanted hard consequences. When magic is used, it works at a conscious and subconscious level. The sword cleaned out of subconscious muck. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. And everyone's saying hello. Yay. We love everyone here at Miss Smart Muses. And again, thank you for everyone that's coming in. I do see you. Thank you for being here. And just warning, we're spoilers galore. If as you can see, we're on chapter 33. So once all that was done, yay, the whole mountains is coming apart, as Panamon Creel says. And what happened? Shay got hit on the head, right? Or something. He's like, "You'll be okay. I'm gonna get you out of it. That's a promise." Or
Yeah, because
maybe,
the place starts crumbling.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, here
Oh,
comes
and
another sad part.
yeah, I know. And he screamed. Okay, this is no. Okay, yeah. I don't think I think he does get stunned later, but actually, just first, he's just dealing with all this, and he's screaming and faltering because it was very psychologically uh traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
And Kelset's all worried. He's like, he's okay. Let's just get out of here. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. So they're all running and all that, and then the entire ceiling of the corridor cracked and began to settle slowly downward. And Panamon yelled and pulled Shay down in front of him. Instantly, Kelsa was there, the giant frame bracing as the great shoulders hunched upward against the tons of breaking rock. And so they were able to get out, him and Panamon. And uh, they collapsed in a pile of loose rocks and dust and just had a glimpse of Kelset, his great frame still braced against the crumbling stone. And Panamon was going to go back into there, I guess, to try to help him, but a deep rumble tore through the mountain. Tons of stone crashed downward. And check this out. Shay screamed and threw himself against the wall of rock. So, I mean, gosh darn, I mean, the emotion of this moment. But Panamon pulled him back roughly and said, he's dead. We can't help him now. It's like, get out of here. Let's get out of here. So,
It was a hold the door moment.
yes. but better.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, because in Game of Thrones, the Children of the Forest don't even have a door
Yeah, exactly.
because they don't have metal to make hinges.
Yeah.
yeah. Yes. Well, that's Dan and Dave for you, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
But what got because Shay moving, because of course Shay was all effed up, he finally says, "Get out of here. Do you want him to have died for nothing?" So if he'd have
Yeah.
sat around there crying and died, then he's like, "Hey, he died in vain." So I'm an emotional wreck at this point. And hello, fuck Norris, by the way. Or great, yeah, okay. You know what? If that's what I was supposed to say, I said it. I said it. Um, yeah, and I see some really good comments here. I'll get to your comments in just a second. Where as they're all running and all stuff, and yeah, that's when they get hit by things and they're getting all concussed, and Panama apparently has hurt his leg, and then the fucking mutin is still there, and it's like he's not dead yet, and it's coming down after them, and then he goes, "Get going, Shay. I'll catch up shortly." And I swear, when I read that, I was like, "Oh no, oh no, this is about to get really ugly if this is what I think's going to happen." And then Shay's like, "We can outrun him," but then Panamon's like, "Not this time. I've done something to my leg. Now run and keep running," because Shay wanted to keep talking. He told him to shut up, and tears are streaming down the Veilman's face. He's like, "I can't do that," says Shay, and Panamon's like, "I can take care of myself, just as I did before I met you or Kelset. Now I want you to run." And then finally, and then Shay almost pulls the sword on him. And Panamon Keelden kind of smiles at him and says, "We'll meet again, Shay. You watch for me." Oh my gosh. I was dying. I was dying. And then he goes, and then it says Shay ran on alone. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah,
I would,
the shit crumbled around them too.
yeah.
And oh yeah, and Shay could tell that Panamon's leg was not hurt at all.
He just wanted to.
Oh, did I miss that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shit.
And he was like, he's suspiciously not limping or something, I think he thought to himself.
yeah.
And it's like, oh, he did that to.
It was basically buying Shay time,
Yeah, I thought that was really sweet. And I'm like, oh, he does have a heart, even though he tries to pretend like he doesn't.
which was completely selfless, which is something he had not done before,
Yeah.
which means Panamon had growth.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I see it here. Yeah, it was half a sentence. It seemed like he was not limp. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he had growth. He wasn't just. Oh, for fuck's sake! I didn't. That even makes it worse
Yeah.
in a good way. Oh, I love him. And I was mad. I was so mad. I
It
was
just
ready.
lost Hendel, and then this happens, and Durin seemingly dead.
Yes.
It's like, this ain't right.
Well, it wasn't it last week. I think that Stieg had asked both of us, Rennie, which of their three favorite characters, and I think Panamon was one for definitely both of us. And
I couldn't remember. I want to say, I know we had Kelsit
yeah, Kelsit was definitely and then
Minion, but I think I went
for you
Valinor and you went Panamon.
yeah, because I think you went with Kelsit, something like that. But the point is, damn it, all the ones we loved, except
It's
for
like,
Minion.
no.
Yes.
Like, that fucker made us read this.
Death to the Norwegian. No.
Yeah. Hey, I've written some DMs that were very strongly worded over the last year to that Norwegian.
Off with his head.
And I was about ready. I think I said I was about ready to, but
I remember Lady Toriel, our favorite elf, had started reading Game of Thrones, and she went in blind. She hadn't seen the show.
Oh no.
And I was asking how far she was, because that certain wedding was going to happen soon. And then got a message saying, "Well, I read about the wedding," and she said, "You knew." I was like, "Yeah, I couldn't spoil it."
If I would have told you, you wouldn't have read it.
Yes. Oh. Yeah, Jacob says Hindle and Kelset, my two favorite characters, Teresa and me, kill off our favorite character. Yeah, we are the kiss of death to our favorite characters. Um, Tad, that should be said. I was 6 when I read this. When Kelset died, I cried for like an hour.
Yeah, he sacrificed himself so Shay could make it. I just I was like, oh, oh.
Yeah.
So I get it.
And phew, Norris. Enjoying the stream. Need some. Read some of these around 96, 99. Remember liking the need to reread was, and I'm a big Dragonlance. Woohoo! And was surprised how much I liked him.
You're in good company.
Mm-hmm. I'm just discovering them and loving them. Maybe the first 3. I think that's definitely on my list eventually to do here. In philosophic terms, says the Ted, that shouldn't be in schools. Reality is defined as that which is true, and therefore a lie is something that is not real. Yes. I don't want to think too hard about that because my brain might explode. But yeah, the whole thing about objective reality, objective truth versus subjective, and that sometimes what is cannot be seen is more real than what can be seen, all that kind of good stuff. Let's see. Andy Masterson, hello. I had started these books in 1983 but never finished. Well, maybe this will get you around to finishing, and I hope we didn't just spoil the ending for you. But these have been lots of fun. Yes, wow. Yeah, I missed the boat. Well, you see, I think when these first came out, well, I know I was too young. I was like a toddler. But my reading didn't really start getting into this kind of territory until early 90s, and by then I think I just missed the boat on these. So
The book 2 was the first non-Tolkien fantasy novel I read.
oh wow. Yeah.
And if you like this one, you're definitely liking 2 because it's better.
See, that's what's killing me. The fact that I have, in a good way, that we have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yummy. Yummy like eggs on eggs with smoked salmon and lettuce on a bun. I'll tell you what. Wow. So I was devastated because again, at this point, I'm like, for fuck's sake, we lost both of them. And then we get what I call the Dumbledore moment in the next chapter. Oh wait, I was so upset just thinking about it. I missed my page. So chapter 34. Now these are very short chapters. I was fine with the Al-Anon chapter. I thought that was the length that it should be, but I wanted a little more later, as we were saying. So so we get a little bit of what happened, Al-Anon, and then Al-Anon goes. Oh, before I do, I want to point out that he realizes that he had lost the elf stones. The elf stones are gone. And
Yeah, he had lost the elf stones probably when he fell.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was in his shirt pocket, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. And I think it's funny because Al-Anon just seems to give 0 Fs, and he's just like, maybe they'll turn up later.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, like no problem. But he does have soup. You see, I love it. We always talk about the food in these books, and he had some soup to make him feel better. And he struggles to sit up. And he's like, "Can we talk a while?" Here we go. Some explanation time, children.
Also, now that the whole world is saved thing, Al-Anon really softens up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the weight is off his shoulders, right? All the stress, because he was kind of harsh all through the books, or the book.
And yeah, you're right. He's a little bit less foreboding, so to speak, in this chapter. But I also feel like, he's a little bit more relaxed because nothing to worry about at the moment. So he's feeling pretty good.
Mhm.
But also he's exhausted and he's just like, I'm kind of spent for the moment.
Yeah, and
So,
he explains to Shay that, all the use of magic has taken a toll on him, right?
Yeah.
mhm.
So he's going to use something called the druid sleep, which is what the druids do. They It's also why they live for centuries. They basically hibernate, go into stasis while they recharge.
See, I just thought it
So
was a metaphor for death whenever I was reading it. So I misread it or whatever, but I just assumed he was just kindly saying, "All right, it's time for me to leave this world."
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Well, yeah, what he says was when he says how old he says, I was older than any normal man could be. The Druids discovered the secret of longevity following the first war of the races, but there is a price. And it said it was a price that Brona refused to pay. It is a special kind of sleep that restores us from our aging. And it is, there are some of steps to this and some are not pleasant. Um, and Drew and Brona wanted a way different from that sleep. So, hey, if I had to choose sleeping, give it to me anytime.
basically, Brona wanted to circumvent the cost of longevity.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He wanted a quick fix. He wanted the easy way and no shortcuts. Yeah.
Yep.
And I like the way that he explains to Shay when, like, why didn't you let us know? He said it was not something I could explain to you. It was something that you had to experience. And I think that's the key to all of it, that we didn't get because until we knew the reasons, I cannot see any other way because they would have had like the foresight to have known, okay, I'm going to have to accept the truth. Let me kind of get ready for the truth and all of that. And Al-Anon's like, we build too many walls to be completely honest with ourselves.
Well, I thought it was
So,
interesting. He said something like he went through another descendant of Shannara and he forewarned them, and it wound up causing everything to fall apart.
yeah,
Because
the
he was
Yeah,
original.
that
like,
was Bremen had done it with Gerald Shannara,
Mhm.
which is the prequel book.
Yeah, Gerald Shannara did not succeed.
Yeah, he basically used the sword as a weapon. He had basically tried to hack the Warlock Lord with it, which
Mhm.
Yeah,
didn't
you
kill him
can't do
because he
that.
was supposed to hold the blade in him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it says Gerald Shannara was not prepared for what he discovered, even though he had been forewarned.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so he knew that the other way wouldn't work. And yeah, and his
yeah.
natural instinct was to rely on the sword as a physical weapon.
Which is kind of cool that they had the chance before, but they failed. The hero actually failed.
Mm-hmm.
This big glorious elven warrior king, he fucked up.
But then you've got this little like weakling that winds up saving the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. His physical strength, his fighting prowess, his battle experience, all of it was useless to him. It was just too much for him to accept.
it was basically spirit against spirit.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Shay actually almost says it's the line. He says, "You were right. I'm not sure I could have handled the truth. You can't handle. I
Yeah.
couldn't have."
I'm like, oh no. And he
Yeah,
didn't know at the time when he wrote it, but it was pretty funny. But yeah.
yeah. And then I love it when he goes, "I was afraid," and he goes, "There's one thing you should know. Bremen was my father." It's like, and at first I thought I was confused, and then it's like, oh, Bremen. It's like your
Yeah, the
father.
shade guy.
Oh, there's a twist to that one too.
Oh, damn.
I
One
Yeah,
we
bet.
don't
well, in the prequel book.
in the prequel. Okay.
Yeah, which is a fine standalone book. I'm sure you both might want to read it later.
Okay. Well, I have it. It's like your father, but that's not possible. It's like,
Oh no.
thank you. Luke. And then so yeah, that's when he goes into the sleep thing. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, he basically puts Shay to sleep and walks off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but he tells Shay, he's like, you're going to have to tell him this story because he tells him everything that goes on. And he's like, well, why can't you do it? And then he tells him about the whole thing that he's going to go do. And he's like, but I need your help. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. But we know how that turned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It basically STFU.
He put him to sleep, but unlike Bill Cosby, he left.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I think Bill Cosby eventually left.
Yeah.
Oh.
He left
Yeah.
samples.
Anyway, so when Shay wakes up, he wakes up in the presence of the elves. Yay! It's like, you're among friends. We are Eventine's men. And then that was when he's like, where's, Al-Anon? And they're like, there's only you here. And then he heard himself whispering, sleeping. Goodbye, Al-Anon. So I'd love to wake up with a bunch of elves looking after me, because elves are fun, and they got good food and they got nice beds. And
they're beautiful because I think it said he looked at a beautiful set of green eyes when he first woke up.
yes, deep penetrating green eyes locked with his own. Yeah,
Penetrating.
Yeah, we like penetration here at Miss
Yeah.
Martin.
We like deep penetrations on this channel.
We're a very friendly channel here.
Yeah.
Friendly to all. And then that's it, pretty much. And this is where oh my gosh, you guys are terrible. Chapter 35. It starts moving so fast you don't even know what to do with yourself. And in like one paragraph, it's like, oh look, they were all fine, and those who remained of the little band said goodbye to each other. And then I'm like, what? That's it? It's like, yeah, Durin and Dale. Hey, by the way, Durin's still alive. He was found among the wounded. Balinor Buchanan, or sorry, Buckhanna in chainmail and royal blue riding coat, a pale Shay, the faithful Flick, and Minnie and Lee. And then they all just kind of said goodbye. It was painful, but they were like, what the hell? And then they went away. And I'm like, that's it?
Well,
That's it,
Menyon went with them, though, to make sure they made it home, and then he would return for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Minion stayed, but the rest of them, yeah, because and they mentioned Dale would finally be reunited with his beloved Linless. Yeah, Minion went with them, and the
hope he returns and she's found another boyfriend.
Oh damn! Oh, Stig, that's terrible. That would be terrible. And Minnie and Lee went with them to the Vale, determined to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. And then,
a slight spoiler for a book like way into the future of this series. In one of Terry Brooks's books, the hero doesn't get the girl. She instead chooses to be with the stable boy.
Oh, it's like a romance novel.
Well, she basically ditches him for the stable boy, which I thought was awesome.
Well, stable boys, and it's a thing. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. Well, that's okay.
Well, there's a little twist at the end, though, when they're back home.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know. I'm getting there. It's one of the best things ever. And if it didn't happen, I mean, I was literally waiting to finish this before I was going to write the most vicious DM you ever would have gotten in your life. It would have made editorials look Tame.
So she didn't scold me. She just said you knew.
Well, I would have
Wasn't it
thought of.
there wasn't any cussing or anything like that.
Well,
To each their own.
I was really upset. So what do you call it? A eucatastrophe, right? Because then you get the happiness. But sorry.
Yeah, basically Flick and Shay are back in Shady Vale and they've been fixing up stuff and blah blah blah. And their dad comes in and says, "Hey, there's a guy in the lobby because they're running an inn, right?"
Hmm.
And he says he has something for Shay, and I think he handed him the pouch with the elf stones, and
Um,
well, his dad did.
no, he
I
wouldn't
thought
give
it
it
was
to him.
him.
No, no, yeah, he showed it to the dad, that purple pouch or whatever it was, which is the Elfstone pouch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And his
but
dad mentioned that the guy was odd and he had a pike for a hand.
Yeah. And then they go running. And I love the way the dad, like, he didn't know. He's like, I'm sick of all these people showing up and everything.
yeah,
And
because
this,
they alluded to it being like Valinor and Alanon, and it's like, well, what about the guy that came by last night with the pike? And it's like, oh,
yeah. And then he's like, it must be something important. He said you dropped it on your way home. But he said he didn't, like, the boys were like gone, and in a rush his sons were past him through the kitchen door and halfway down the hallway to the lobby of the inn.
Yeah, so Panemon made it.
Yay! And what a great last sentence. It's just very matter of fact,
Yeah.
and nothing more
Oh,
needed to be said.
the other short story that I
Hmm.
mentioned that I didn't want to spoil for the people watching, because the other short story is called the Black Ichris or whatever it was,
Hmm.
which is the medallion Kelset had.
mm,
Uh, Panemon, Creel, and Flick teams up to get it. The lost medallion of Kelset, I think it was.
Oh,
that's awesome.
So
yay!
I really couldn't say what it was about, right, for obvious reasons.
For
Yeah,
sure.
But yeah,
Happy,
so you
happy.
get a little Flick and Panemon story.
Oh, well, that's
It's
good.
not long though. It's like 30 or 50 pages.
Well, no, but it sounds like a little treat. It's like eating a cupcake.
Yeah, Terry Brooks
with
released
sprinkles.
a book with all his short stories collected. A lot of them have nothing to do with Shannara, but it has all the Shannara ones though, and that one's in it, and a couple of others you should never read yet because
Oh,
it involves book 2 and 3.
oh, okay.
But yeah, I think I sent you guys the short story though.
Hmm.
You sent
I
it,
have
yeah,
it.
it's in the
Yeah.
email, yeah.
So if you want to know what happens with that stuff, then there you go. It's a quick read.
Yay.
Ew.
Well, and before though, I just wanted to point out though that the sort of Shannara that uh who is this? Whatever the frack his name is, Shape. He decided to hand it over to the people of Kalinor, and he points out no one had given more to preserve the freedom of all the four lands, and deserved to be entrusted with its care and preservation, which is true. Those people really did sacrifice and fight and do all sorts of stuff that I think it also shows that Shay is acknowledging that yeah, maybe he did something with all of that, but they were just as much heroes in their own way. And it was the sort of Shamrock ends up in something called the People's Park, the Gardens of the People's Park in Tursis,
Yeah,
sheltered by.
I
Sorry.
mean, who better to protect it than the Border Legion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Border Legion, they're badasses. And it says, herein lies the heart and soul of the nations, their right to be free men, their desire to live in peace, their courage to seek out truth. Herein lies the sword of Shannara.
And this works perfectly as a standalone book.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the story could end there.
Yeah. And it could have if it didn't do well.
Yeah, that's what a lot of authors did back then. The first book was always, standalone.
Hmm.
Because they didn't know if it'd be picked up for a series,
Yeah, I mean, even Magician, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You can read Magician and that's it.
Oops. I pressed something.
Yeah.
I changed you all. I transitioned you. Okay, you're back now. With that in mind, that's it. And then we go and we change. Well, we've done it. We finished it. Um, I'm just opening it all up. I mean, go for it. And
Well,
anything.
what score would you to give the book though? From 0 to 10.
I would say an 8. I feel like Teresa, you worded it pretty perfectly when you said something about the editors having too much of a hand in some of it, and
Mhm.
there was things left out. And I understand that they didn't feel like Valinor, Minion, Cheryl, and the dwarves and the elves were important, but I think it would have been nice to see that the dwarves and elves were still at peace, or to see how Balinor felt after everything, or to see them at least be able to say goodbye to everyone, for maybe Shay to, actually meet Eventide, and Eventide to say, thank you for all you've done. I mean, I just wanted to see some of these interactions, and it didn't happen for me, so I was a bit disappointed in that.
Yeah, the last chapter was rushed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it
The
felt that.
Al-Anon goodbye thing, that was done perfectly.
Yeah, that was good. And Al-Anon, like, saying what he needed to say, that was cool. That was really well done. It's just that, we didn't get to see some of these other characters, and they weren't necessarily side characters. I didn't see Valinor as such, or Minion as such.
No, they had their own chapters, so they,
Yeah.
they were definitely main characters.
And even Flick kind of got pushed to the side until the very end. Even though he was with Balinor's and Eventide's men for a bit, he just kind of faded into the mist after the
Yeah,
whole
after
saving
he saved.
Eventide. Yeah. So it's just, I would have liked to see a little bit more happen and more interactions. I think we could have had an extra chapter or two that kind of explained all that stuff, and to get a really good sense of closure with these people.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Yay.
Yeah, we needed like again a party scene or a celebration, um, like and or even a memorial for Hendel.
Yes, that
Uh,
would have been nice.
Actually, the closure would have been good if they had done it at Handel's funeral
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's
and just have them chat a bit, and then
And then have
exactly.
a coronation for
yeah.
Valinor.
Yeah.
But would you say that it ended up being different enough from the Lord of the Rings?
For
Yes.
Yeah, for me, yes.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. With it was basically the first half that was Lord of the Rings ish, and then it slowly became more and more its own thing. You know.
Yeah, but still, that whole Oral Fane, even the way Oral Fane like died trying to get the
Yeah,
sword,
yeah. There's similar stuff there, but
and the way when once the Dark Lord was killed, with the talisman, then the whole battle stopped. That just solved everything. That was very similar.
yeah,
But the wind did it. I like that. I thought about the wind because remember there was this big wind that blew up and all the skull bearer things just
Dissipated, kind of.
dissipated. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah. I would say it's hard for me to look at it objectively for because it's a little bit different than when I just pick up a book and read it because we've picked it up and we've been reading it in little chunks and discussing it and seeing some of the parallels. I honestly am not entirely sure I would have seen a lot of these parallels. Some of them, all of them, as much if maybe we hadn't been discussing it or reading it aloud. I find when I read things aloud, it focuses you in a certain way. But I would give it maybe an 8 to 8.5, maybe a little slightly higher, slightly higher. Uh, I'm definitely going to be very interested in the next one where I've just heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, I'm landing on an 8 as well. It's a rock solid fantasy book, but there's some stuff lacking at the end.
Hmm.
You know, the ending, or rather the wrap up, felt rushed.
Hmm.
Yeah. I, Brooks says a Tad that shouldn't be. Whoops, lost him. Was heavily influenced by Lord of the Rings, sort of the
Well,
WOS.
he actually said he was influenced, but he was more influenced by Faulkner.
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, it is a very good first novel. Definitely, it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, most of the people who claim it's derivative couldn't write their way out of a paper bag.
Yeah.
Uh, there's some truth in that. Uh, a lot of people like to be critics, and maybe sometimes in their criticism reveal maybe their knowledge of the subject isn't as strong as it could be. Oh, I finally figured it out. They're doing the score. Chelsea
Yeah, 1-0.
1-0. Okay. At first I thought, is he saying it he's giving the book a 10? Because I saw 1x0 and I'm like, what? I got it. Okay, Jacob Ironside says 8 out of 10. What a stupid penalty. Oh, I'm sure it is a stupid penalty. I swear they're all bribed. The world of Shannara is one of the nicknames for. Oh, I see. I see. I got you. I got you. I understand. Yeah, I haven't run into a lot of critics of the Sword of Shannara and stuff, but then again, I'm still new to the Sword of Shannara, so maybe I'll see.
Yeah. Oh, and a heads up for the next one. There's a 50-year time skip,
Mm, I
but
know,
that doesn't mean the characters from this book won't be in it.
but they're going to be old.
You can be grandpas and grandmas.
Well, you want a slight spoiler?
Hmm.
You'll find out right away anyway.
Okay, we're getting a
Uh,
slight spoiler, everyone.
yeah, the main character is Shay's grandkid.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so, you know.
Um. Well, that's a pattern I got used to with the Riff-War books
Yeah.
because that happened a lot, and I think that's kind of cool. It keeps things
Started
from
happening a
changing.
little bit in the Star Wars expanded universe as well.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
Jason and Jaina, all that.
Oh yeah, but that was really good stuff.
Mm. Shansu says the critics were probably a lot harsher in 1977 when it was reviewed for the first time.
Oh
Possible.
yes, they were harsh.
Yeah, critics. Well, critics
How-
are still dicks, but they.
It's weird though. I mean, people now who mostly haven't even read the books are like judging him for that one book, saying that he's a hack and blah blah blah. Like he's written 40 other Shannara books. You
Mhm.
know, that's yeah.
Yeah.
It's written a lot since then. Time to let that go, people.
Yeah, people.
Yeah.
I'll be a little bit. I will get out the finger of judgment a little bit and say, people, quit using Wikipedia as your source.
Yeah.
We can tell that that's all you're doing. All right.
Yeah.
You can tell who just looked it up on Wikipedia and is spouting it off
And
as your
and
own
read more than
opinion.
just the headlines.
Yeah.
Darn
Stay away
right.
from Wikipedia and Reddit, people. They are
Yeah.
not law.
Yeah. Well, but here's the deal. I mean, there's no problem. Hey, I've used Wikipedia on several occasions, especially if I'm trying to remember like a fact or something
Yeah.
about a book. But when you're trying to use it to cover for the fact that you've actually read the source material, and I'm not thinking of anything in particular at all with this, you can tell. You can tell.
Yeah.
And something very important, apparently, Kick 44 always roots against Man United.
Good man.
A lot of people would. Yeah, well, Stieg is one of them. I must admit, I was guilty of liking Man United, mainly because my little clients were all liked Man United, because
Which
that's the
is
thing.
shallow as shit. That's not a good reason to like a football club, is it?
I know. Well, I've got an even shallower reason to like the club I've been following now is because it's Robin Hood's team.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest. But remember, I'm the woman that's not even rooting for her own country in the World Cup. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I forgot. I have to for a bit. I'm shallow as fuck. Well, I'm learning though. I'm learning, but I do enjoy football, and I always have. And American football, I mean, soccer in America, we just don't have it. We just don't have it. Though the real team I root for, Stieg, is Cork. You know, because that's my hometown. I mean,
Yeah. That's
but
it's a 1-1 in the Man United match.
okay, there we are.
United
Yeah.
scored 4 minutes into extra time.
Oh,
Damn it.
I was about to say, what's that going to do for you? They were harsh, says Tad. It should be, but most critics back then hated fantasy in general. They had to nerve Sam to. Oh yeah, they're idiots. Well,
Yeah.
even when in the book, Author of the Century, Tom Shippey goes into it in a great deal that how many times they kept trying to redo polls and things because Tolkien kept coming up as the author of the century at the end of the millennium, and Tom Shippey does an amazing defense of why he is the author of the century. Using if you
Yeah, he probably is, and I think even if it's not a genre that you favor, you still have to acknowledge the impact and the work, even if you don't like the story, because there's a hell of a lot of the work is huge. I mean, he created, what was it, 2 languages?
at least because he
Yeah.
yeah. When some people say, well, so and so also creates language, it's like, well, it's not just the language, you know.
Yeah.
It's everything
Well,
together.
and to flip that, a lot of fantasy writers get put below Tolkien because they didn't have languages, which is very unfair, because unless you're a linguist, you can't do that. So it's unfair expectations, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, and it boils to if you don't know what you're doing, it's better not to try. Just don't do
Yeah.
it. There's no law that says it has to be because the suspension of disbelief has it okay. They're all speaking in their own
Dragonlance,
language.
though, has a little bit of a language to it because they have the spell language.
Hmm.
Every time Raistlin lights his staff, it says, what is it, Chirac or something?
Hmm. Yeah. 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 And well, of course, that's all for also the whole.
There's a bit of a when they did the animated Dragonlance movie, which flopped. Kiefer Sutherland voiced Raistlin, and he worked with I think it was some of the D&D people, so he could pronounce the spell words correctly.
Hmm.
That is dedication. When you're
Yeah.
doing like an animated movie that's probably not going to make a lot of money, hats
Yeah.
off to Kiefer Sutherland for that.
Yeah. Well, and hats off to that voice casting because he's perfect as Raceland.
Yeah, I have that movie on my channel.
Yeah. Everyone go
I got
watch
away
him.
with uploading the whole damn thing.
Mhm. Gosh, yeah, good stuff. Well, but I think it also goes back to, as we were saying, is that people don't people look down on fantasy, and I think we're getting to the point where some of those snobs are dying off, if you will. Like just because something's of a certain genre doesn't
I
mean that it's can't be
I
great.
I think the impression that a lot of people had was if it's fantasy fiction, right? It's not
Mhm.
real, which means you can't have real messages in it, which is where they fail, because you can indeed have messages in it and lessons about morality and what have you. The fact that it's fantasy, uh, that's basically the stage the story is set on. You
Mhm.
know, it just uses different props. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
the sword of Shannara, you could tweak it and rearrange it a bit, and you could set it in World War II with Brona being Hitler, and to do a fictional World War II thing. You know,
Yeah.
Tarsus being Paris, being about to be overrun, and so someone needs to smuggle a grenade into Hitler's lair or something.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that could,
and
no,
the whole party of adventurers could be, you know, elite soldiers from different countries.
yeah. No, absolutely. Well, and it's absurd when people say that, because for crying out loud, what did all our English teachers, all our literature teachers make us read? We had to read Odysseus, we had to read Beowulf, we had to read
Yeah.
all of
Yeah,
these fantastical stories, and
mythology.
mythology, fairy tales. Fairy tales
Yeah,
are great literature.
Yeah.
So the same people that are saying fantasy isn't, but a fairy tale's not, or what Athena's gonna come in and do all this stuff, or whatever Zeus did when he came in and screwed a cow. No, wait, I'm mixing up my myths. Shut up. Zeus screwed the maiden. He was always raping all the women. It was
Yes.
Loki that screwed a cow.
yeah, and Beowulf.
Yeah,
Grendel's a monster.
yeah. So it's ignorance, and as the older I get, the more judgmental I get. It's like, if you don't know what you're talking about, no one will ever judge you for keeping your mouth shut. But people
Yeah.
will judge you, as in, I will judge you if you open your mouth and say something stupid, especially if you say something that is derogatory towards something. Like, if you're gonna, well, I get more cranky when people put something down out of ignorance than when people praise something out of ignorance. But if you're going to praise something, also know why you're praising it.
Yeah, which is also a problem. People just praise logos now blindly.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
As long as Shansu says, as long as I have never have to read Steinbeck again. Well, his books, I will acknowledge, were objectively great, but sad as, but because of the material. Hello, thank you, Boosh, for being here. If you want to, Tad the Shimmy, if you want some Inside and Terror books, you can go to his website. Okay, yeah, um, yeah, yes. Well, we could get into that, but maybe we shouldn't. We'll get ourselves in
Oh,
trouble.
excuse me.
Oh, excuse you? What?
Sorry, I thought you could hear me. I
Oh,
belched fairly loudly. It was completely out of nowhere.
oh, I was running my yap, and yeah, and again, I apologize that sometimes I'm still getting used to being a bit of an elephant, not an elephant, whatever you call it, octopus. Yeah. So again, it's a good problem to have, a lot more interaction and running all the different screens and things. I'm continuing to learn that, but I mean, maybe one of these days. I think you alluded to it, Steve, a little bit about only reading the headline without reading the content of the article.
Yeah,
That
people are so lazy that they're basically expecting people to tell them what to like or not like on both sides.
Yeah,
You know?
or and that sometimes they do write. Even journalists will write titles that they know is going to piss people off because it'll make people click it, and they don't care
Yep.
whether it's true or not.
It's
Yeah.
it's not about being right. It's about being first and loudest.
And getting the click.
Yep.
Yeah. hmm yes. That must have been some good bacon. Oh, forced tin. Oh, did I miss something about bacon?
Hmm.
Okay, speculative fiction gets a better reaction. Um, let's see. Okay, so do I have it here? Okay, yeah, there we are. But I don't know. I guess that's a very long way of saying, I really do enjoy everything we've been doing here. And I had to stand up because I've been sitting down for quite a while and let something crack. We need to have a staff chiropractor here at Miss Martin Muses. One of these days we will. Mhm. And yes, we need to. We'll stay together. Like I said, we're going to be staying together for the next at least few months before we all get sick of each other. We have Elfstones of Shannara. We have the other one, and I'm definitely going to go through the Magician Apprentice and Magician Master, and keep your eyeballs open because the folks from Lucasfilm are planning on butchering that if it's still in the development phase. Still in the development phase, but they do have the rights to the first
Well, Lucasfilm
three.
doesn't.
Oh, rather, sorry.
Yeah, it's the former Star Wars story group lady, Kiri Hart,
hmm
Hmm.
who's a complete idiot.
Yes. Well, they're people that weren't hired for their storytelling abilities because I remember when it came out that people looked at their resumes or their credits and found out that they actually hadn't done any work.
Yeah, the Lucasfilm story group, their combined writing credits
hmm
was, one of them had written 3 episodes total
Yeah.
for a couple of TV shows nobody's ever heard of.
Hmm.
Most of them were bloggers, that they were blogging about feminism and the patriarchy and blah blah blah, and the rest had written fan fiction on forums.
Yeah.
That's it. That's who they hired to be in charge of the story of $1 billion franchise.
Yeah. And then when you
Oh boy.
compare it with the people that they hired for the EU
Yeah,
and even Dragonlance, and the Forgotten Realms and all of them, for crying out loud, these were people who knew the craft. There is an art to storytelling, and while there is natural talent, there's always some natural talent, but there's no talent that is so great that it does not need to be honed, trained, tried, um, failed,
yeah. And these got hired
improved.
right off the street, basically, because they had the right political views and they checked the boxes.
hmm
It's like, oh, you're gay? Well, you can write for Star Wars.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what it was.
yeah, yeah. And Bush says, yeah, it's easier for student to control no-name writers than to control real writers with credits. As he said, Steve was
Well,
saying, this
he's
is just a
right. They
type.
actually do that uh, with directors too.
hmm
Hmm.
They don't dare have Ridley Scott do a Star Wars movie, right?
Oh no,
Because he's going to put his foot down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and well, the perfect example is with the Rings of Power lately. That they hired some people that literally had never even tried to write anything. I mean, at least the Star Wars people had written a TV episode of something, but for that exact
Yeah,
reason.
15 years earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So keep your eyeballs open. And let's just go figure what person would want to go, to use the orchestra analogy, what person would want to go play in an orchestra with someone who had never conducted an orchestra? It would be a
Yeah,
nightmare. They
and you
wouldn't know
will
how to
look
conduct.
bad for being part of it.
Exactly, exactly. And you wouldn't be able to conduct it. You could maybe do the pattern, like, okay, I'll look up on the internet how to do the patterns, but that's not the art of conducting. And
It's like someone hiring me to do it.
yeah,
I'm tone deaf. I wouldn't know what the hell I was doing.
yeah,
Of course,
but you,
I'd take the paycheck,
yeah,
you know.
and you
But
could Google it. You could Google it, look
yeah,
up,
I could
okay,
Google it like this Lucasfilm story group does. I mean,
exactly.
I literally saw one of the new Star Wars writers praising Wikipedia because without it, she wouldn't have been able to write her book.
Yeah, which is
That's the
absurd.
level.
Yeah. And the level of their power is that they just made Rennie disappear. And as I say, she's been going in and out. I wonder if it's her cat though. Sometimes my cat has been known to kick me out of things before, but it looks good. So it's just something to think about. And you see the results also when someone's like, I'm going to be in a musical. Have you ever been in a musical? No, but they gave me singing lessons for a few months, and then you see them in the movie, and you're like, that hurts. Uh, what they used to do actually in studio movies is they used to hire professional singers and then have them lip sync, which is almost better than hearing bad singing. But I digress. Well, I really hope we get Rennie back. And thank you so much, all of your kind words. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Wrap this up. Things are wow. Things time flies when you're in the future. I'm in the future right now a little bit. So I'm gonna wrap up this party. This has been a great experience. Please stay tuned. We are going to be continuing with the Elfstones of Shannara. So if you want to read along with us, please go ahead and do so. We are not doing it 3 chapters at a time, though. We are doing more like 8 chapters at a time. Approximately, I think 90 pages each session. Was it 90 pages, 60 pages,
I think it
whatever it
was
is?
more like 80.
Yes. So please do that. And again, thank you for sticking here. And of course, the usual gang. Sort of Pupus, thank you, Boosh, Yansu, Kek 44. We had, Timon, had that shouldn't be, Jacob Ironside, Fook Norris. I hope I'm getting everybody here. If I do miss anyone, it is not unintentional. Thank you to one and all. Like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned. We will continue. We will continue. And thank you for waving a paw, waving a paw. And yes, all of the rings of power. Yes, till next time. Goodbye, goodbye. See you all in cyberspace. Have a great day. Oh, she's back. And
Sorry
of
about
course,
that, you guys. I was having Wi-Fi issues.
no worries. I was just gonna say, Zakrot 315. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone. Oh, I was gonna say, let me thank my panel, of course, Rennie and Stieg and Lady Gravemaster. She's not here today, but she has been in and out. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great day, and be certain to not watch garbage written by people that don't know how to write.
And stick people with a sword so they'll see the truth.